Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Nadia Conn with me here today. Nadia is the owner of West to East Business Solutions, a fractional CFO firm. Her mission is to bridge the financial leadership gap for small to mid-sized businesses across diverse industries. Welcome to the show, Nadia.
Oh, thank you so much, Tim, for having me.
All right. You have a fascinating story, all sorts of interesting adventures and trials and tribulations. Before we get into your backstory, why don't we talk about West to East right now, where it's at right now?
Oh, West to East Business Solution, we are a few years old. We are tiny but mighty. We helping the people who cannot afford, full-time CFO, because it's a crucial, for any business to have, the chief financial officer. But we understand that the small companies cannot afford that. So then what we usually do with our clients, we bring in, a part-time CFO, fractional CFO as you wish, controller, and, the full bookkeeping and HR. So this way, when we're coming to our clients, we're telling them what makes us different. We bring, 4 or 5 people for price of one.
Okay. Yes. That's a big challenge for people at that lower stage, trying to get to the upper stage. Right. And that's a big hurdle and a big value to companies. That's great. How did you get into the space?
I was in corporate world for over 25 years. And, the last company I worked, it was big, the NASDAQ, company, and, 75,000 employees. And,
wow.
I got tired, because it's a red tape and, it just, we came to this company due to the merger and acquisition from the smaller company where I was a CFO. And I kind of, fulfill my duties, for 2 years to innovate the contracts, make sure, all the clients are fine with the bigger company, and still telling them that, we are the small company and we still do your work. I got, a little burned out, and then I decided to open up my own company because, I always, I think my destiny is helping, people. And I decided to help 20 companies to be successful and have the business owners do the job what they wanted to do, and leave all this administrative minutia to us, and help 20 company versus one. It's always win-win in my book.
Okay, excellent. Now, was that in Arizona or where? In
Arizona.
Those decades of bigger company.
No, it was in New York City for 5 years, and then Arizona. Okay. Yeah, because when I was in New York, I was in the banking industry, was working for the English bank, and then they got bought out by Fleet Bank, and then I moved to Arizona because my family needed the warmer climate.
Okay. And so you've been in Arizona for how long?
Oh, from 1996.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's oh my goodness. The next year is going to be 30 years, right?
Right. Excellent. Where are your clients regionally? Are there a lot of them here? Are they national or global?
Well, we actually, start growing. We actually consider ourselves global as well, because most of majority of our clients here in the Phoenix, area. But we have clients in New Jersey. We're now working on clients maybe in Utah. We have a potential, opportunity to have potential clients in Utah. Also, we have clients in London, United Kingdom, and we have in Spain, in Valencia and Barcelona.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're helping those people to come and bring the business to United States. And that's why, the name we have West to East Business Solutions, because we are in the West here, and we're providing, even if we're providing services to the East Coast, like in New Jersey, it's still from West to East. And if we go to Spain, it's still West to East. So.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Now, remind me, you're from originally Tajikistan?
Tajikistan, yes. It was one of the former republics of Soviet Union. And when Soviet Union abolished, so I jumped on an airplane and came to United States knowing nobody, no English and nothing. I came on a tourist visa, and I made myself to the point that I can be owner of the company. This is the land of opportunity, and lots of people don't understand the importance of that. But when you first generation of the immigrants, so you probably know that more than anybody.
Okay. Yeah. You didn't go straight into economics, even though you had degrees in economics.
Right.
Right? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. Because, the economics in the former Soviet Union, it was the socialism system. And we all know that we are market economy, here. So I took my diploma and, cried a little and put in a, garbage can. And what I did, I went, here and got my education from scratch. The republic I came from, it was the civil war for 7 years after the abolishment of Soviet Union. So I couldn't even retrieve my high school diploma. So what I did, I went and I got my GED and at the Rio Salada College.
Started over.
And started over. And then I went to Western International University with the business and accounting degree, which I graduated with summa cum laude. So, and I was so proud. And at that time, I was holding very high position at one of the engineering companies. And, I was jumping the hoops. You wouldn't believe it. I complete my education in 2.5 years. So I was going to Scottsdale Community College, Rio Salada College, taking general, the courses. And then, of course, what my major, I was taking at the university. But I was taking, 5, 6, classes at the same time. It was brutal, but I did it.
Right. How much of your, I mean, math is math, but how much of your former education, the socialist economics, was all of it was lost? You implied that most of it was.
I guess the economics for the socialism part was lost. But all this, when I was going to Scottsdale community colleges and different colleges, take the physics and mathematics and all that stuff, that degree, helped me to pass my, exams just like that. Actually, I had a, math teacher from Scottsdale Community College who called me and says, "Can I meet with you? And can you tell me how you got from here to here?" Because it was shorter. I say, yeah, because, when I started my degree, I'm like you, Tim, I was math and physics, degree, but then I switched to economics because I thought in the math and physics, I'm not going to be able to make any money.
Right. Well, yeah, it's just, you're doing a lot of the same mathematics, but there's just a dollar sign in front of it.
Right. And that's what I said that, when the told me says, well, can you count the money? When I was working at the Forest Hills Diner in New York, besides, cleaning the toilet bowls, in the morning for the different, people. So I was kind of and they say, well, what do you mean? Is the dollar have 100 cents? And they say, yeah. I say, okay, because it's like a ruble, 1 ruble has 100 kopecks. So I'm good to go. And I have, big smile, and, I never surrender or I'm extrovert. So for the accountant, it's unusual, but I am thankful for my personality,
Sure. Absolutely. That's got to be incredibly challenging. I want to backtrack a little bit for our listeners. You talked about coming to this country, knowing nobody and cleaning toilets. Can you expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, because before I left, Soviet Union, I was living, Moscow, and my father was telling me, "Where are you going?" And nobody. I said, "Look, I have a one-way, the 1-year open date ticket. I go to the United States. I'm not gonna find myself. I'm coming back. I have nothing to lose because I lost everything already." So, and he says, okay, well, your grandfather was liberating concentration camps in during the World War II. So he had a connection with one of the, prisoners, and they were conversing all these years. So, but he's probably a very old gentleman, but if you lucky, you will find him. His name is Henry Jasmine. So when I arrived at JFK, Tim, you gotta see me, I was lost for a little bit. And I said, okay, calm down, go to the, phone, get the white, book and, find the Henry Jasmine. When I opened that book, it was like hundreds of them. So I
Oh,
closed my
wow.
eyes, I picked one and I called him, and it was that Henry Jasmine. That's how
No
lucky
way.
I was. Yeah, I got Henry Jasmine. So, but he was very old, gentleman, very, ill, and, never had, family. What Henry did for me, he told me, said, what do you want from me? Because, he's from Poland, and Russian and Polish are very similar languages. It's like a Slavic, group. And he says, if you talk slow, we will understand each other. That's how we were conversing because my English was zero.
Oh, wow.
We start talking. He says, what do you want? I say, I need the work and I need the room to stay, and can you help me with that? So he took me to that Forest Diner for the late, coffee when he picked me up. And, he talked to the owner of the diner, and they agreed to get me the job if I'm going to have a proper paperwork. So the next day, I went to Social Security Department and told them that, I went to bank and said, I need to open up the bank account, give me the letter that, Social Security need to give me Social Security. And then the Social Security give me the Social Security without the permit of work, which is fine. That's what the immigrant status I had at that time.
Okay.
And then, I went to immigration and I applied for political asylum because in Tajikistan it was a Muslim, war. So, and I was kind of victim of all this. So, so in 2 weeks, I had my permit to work, and I had my Social Security, and I started working at the Forest Hills Diner at night as a cashier. Because they told me you have no language, but Henry says she can smile and she can count the money. So she told me in $1 if it's 100 cents, so she's fine with it. That's how I got the job. And then what Henry did for me before he passed away, he introduced me to all his, friends who were sitting, who were victims of the concentration camps as well. And I started cleaning the houses, for them. I would go there like 6 o'clock in the morning because they all were old, people. They didn't sleep at 7 o'clock, but I needed 1 hour to get there. So, and that's what I was doing, like 6 o'clock in the morning, I go, clean the houses till 1 o'clock, then go home, take a shower, go to diner and work till 1 o'clock in the morning. And then after 1 o'clock in the morning, I found the, TV on streets of New York. That's what New York is, a magnificent city. You can get everything for free right on the street. So I got the whole TV, and don't laugh, but how I learned my English, I was buying the children's books with the, pictures associated with the words.
Yep,
and plus I was watching the soap opera, Young and the Restless. And I tell you why,
Sure.
because it was clean language and it was repetitive, which was good for me because, I needed that. And that's how I learned English. I didn't go, for English language, specifically to the school, because some people, coming and all these agencies providing them those classes and everything. I didn't have that privilege. So I was on my own. And that's how I did it. And then 3 years, I was separated from my children. And then when they came, and we lived in New York, with them for 1 year, and I understood that it was a big culture shock for them. So I moved to Arizona.
Okay, wow. And we kind of glossed over it, but that Civil War was very tough times.
It was very tough times because you remember that Afghanistan, when the Soviets...
you had to learn Farsi and all sorts of stuff if they wanted to stay there, or how did that work?
Right. Well, what happened, that it was the bombing, there, and I was sitting in a basement for 2.5 months. And then we heard the quietness, and this is maybe oxymoron. You can hear the quietness, but we were kind of all the time bombing, and all of a sudden, all of us said, "Did you hear that? It's so quiet." And then we start coming out, from that basement, and those people, they were like, providing you the rifles and then the bread. So, but they say, there is the caveat. So we have to, you have to start learning Farsi, and you have to, kill Shuravi. Shuravi, it means, Soviets and, not people who are Muslims. So, and I said, no, I can't do that. And, yes, I'm hungry right now. And they're baking that bread, the smell of that bread, it was like, we were sitting there, just with nothing, and it was kind of devastating. I couldn't, what I saw during that war, because, I saw lots of things, Tim, I couldn't sleep, probably 10 years, because, and I don't, I'm looking back and I asking myself, how in the world you are still normal? Which is definition of normal is, debatable, but
Sure. Yeah,
yeah.
that's thank you for sharing that. Thank you. That's a lot.
I am very grateful to United States. I'm grateful to New York City, because New York City really made me who I am today in United States. So it has a special place in my heart always.
Sure. And with a lot of people, I think it's been fortunate for.
They say New Yorkers are, rude and, ruthless, and no, it's not. They are most kind, people you can ever meet. They give us the warmest welcome ever. When I needed the most. And now I'm trying to pass,
That's lovely. Yes.
Me lots of, help, and, the people, who I met, during my stay in New York, they don't need my help because they have everything. But I'm trying, this is another thing, why I wanted that, business to help smaller companies who needs me but can afford me. So that's why, the fractional CFO, that's the kind of, giving back to the community and giving back to people who helped me, so much.
Right. Okay. And what's the biggest hurdles on that front and running your own CFO shop?
Yeah, it's difficult, but, having a good team, because, I would be nothing without the team that I created. So it was the handpicked, I know all those, people during all this, years in the corporate world, at one time, they were working with me and they came back to me. So that helps, because we creating the knowledge of several, people that can be so helpful for that smaller businesses for the fractional, price of them, to hire the full-time employee. So, and sometimes this is the hurdle that you have to explain to them how it's beneficial to them, because, yes, our rates are, we trying to be, market, prices for the services, because otherwise we're going to kill our business. So one of my hurdles, and then I came up with the one sentence. I'm telling them, if I am helping you to have a healthy bottom line, but at the same time killing my own business, I advise you not to hire me. Do we have a business deal? And then they say, oh my God, I never was thinking that way, Nadia. I say, yeah, that's the way. Because, we're here to help each other, but, I'm not here to kill my company from the get-go.
Right. Sure.
And I always, telling them, this is the United States of America and nobody works for free. No, unless you're a nonprofit organization. So.
Well, yes. So, okay. Thank you again for that. So what are some of the biggest goals for your company right now in 2025, for example?
Yeah, my biggest goal right now to grow, have a rapid, growth, because by, doing that, I wanted to tell my key employees that there is going to be a place, for them when I decide to exit the business. So I want to grow the way that everybody going to have a benefits of that.
Okay. And as you're looking for more clients, but you can grow your team as needed. Is that kind of the beauty of your particular company right now?
I have the people who works for me, but sometimes I can hire as needed. If I got more clients that I can handle right at this moment. So we have agreement with all those the hiring firms, not the hiring firms, the headhunters, and we can get people immediatally.
Okay.
And now what else I did, I created the finally marketing team at our business, and that's how we got lots of more clients. We get to be recognizable right now. Yesterday I had the interview with UK people, because we wanted to place the article there to attract UK people, because taxation right now in UK is so brutal. It's so hard to do the business there. And if they wanted to come to United States and infuse the money into our economy, so we opened the door, and let's see, maybe we're going to get more clients from there.
So the company isn't leaving the UK; they're just contracting out to you here because it's more affordable. Okay. Right. So on that note, who are sort of your ideal clients right now?
My ideal clients, it's the businesses that provide the services, because my field of expertise lies on that specific area, and I can be more beneficial to them in order for me to go and start learning the retail business or something like that.
I see.
But that's what we're doing. So our clients, engineers, architects, we have now archaeologists, those kind of the medical practices, attorneys, that's kind of clients.
Okay.
We have, but also we have a different event people who has the providing the lighting for all those the arenas to have the event. So that kind of people, but we don't discriminate. If I have to go and learn, and also I'm always work with the clients who transparent and try to do everything legally. That's my biggest clients. I love those guys who really wants to succeed, but they follow the laws, and then they don't do anything shady. So those are my biggest clients.
Okay.
And I have them, and I love them to death. We became friends. We're becoming family. It's just
right. Okay, excellent. Well, that sounds great. Sounds like things are going well for your business, and you always like to be growing.
Right.
And moving that prosperity forward, I sometimes like to talk investments. Can you share maybe your best and or worst investments you've had in your career?
When you're talking about investing my years of experience, or
Sure, anything.
Yeah. Well, I think my best investment in my career, it was to make a decision to leave banking and work for engineering company. It took me because the banking and the regular business, it's opposite sides of the road and accounting standpoint. So I have to revamp myself again, and and the work there. And I grew in that company. When I was a vice president of the bank. It was a Century Bank in Boulders, here in the Carefree, and I got tired because they sold themselves to Harris Trust, and I said, oh my God, I'm sick and tired of mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah.
So I go to the real world, the engineering world, and and they say, well, you're from banking, you're really not familiar with the regular accounting. So they took me as an accounts payable clerk. In 2 months I became controller, and in 6 months I became a CFO. And and I told them, I say, what, if somebody going to tell me I don't have a background, I would like to go and get my accounting degree. So you're going to sleep at night that they give me the title. And he says, no problem. He says, and I pay for your education if you're going to have all 100%. I said, no problem, and I did it. My employer paid for all my education. That was my biggest investments of my life, and it was the best 13 years of my life, in corporate world. But now, I'm thinking, yes, that was then, but now the best, investment. This is my West to East company, because I providing the jobs to people,
right? And
that's how I'm investing, my time and my life. Because I want to create more jobs. I want to be, true to my employees. I'm providing, very good, benefits, to them. And it makes me so proud. So proud. So this is my biggest investment right now. And I would like to have the return on investments when I don't have to do the external sell when I exit my company.
Okay. Excellent. And that impact by helping other companies has got to be incredibly rewarding. Do you have a particular poster company or example you like to share of companies you've been able to help?
Yeah, when I finished with the corporate world, for the company that we were acquired. I don't want to, give the names, but because it's not my privilege now. So, and working in the accounting world, everything is confidential.
Okay.
So, and then, I had the private equity group was contacting me, asking me because, what they did, they purchased the company. And at that time, they didn't think that it was very beneficial for them to do the due diligence to find out what this company is all about before they pay $40 million for it. And then they realized that company is not performing and they cannot get any answers, from any owners, from any existing, company, like, accounting stuff. They contacted me because one of the headhunters said that, why don't you contact Nadia? Because, she's now, free and she can, help you. So, and I told him, I said, okay. So, then I was thinking, how in the world you didn't do the due diligence? But I said, okay, we cannot do that right at this moment. But what we can do, we're going to do the audit, independent audit. This way is going to give it to you the directions what this company is all about. And I will stay with you to facilitate the audit. And then I will help you to organize the project controls because it was the, environmental planning, people. And, they have a big transmission, projects. Like, they have, tremendously, big projects. But, and I told them, and that private equity, when you have a bigger project, that means bigger losses if you're not administering the project correctly. So I set up all those, project managers in the group, and I says, I'm a CFO of your company, and I would like to know how are you guys doing on your projects. And one of them, who was considered the best project manager at that company, he says, my clients loves me, and I have a budget left. And I said, well, that's kind of, bogus answer. Let me slice and dice you, and I'm going to show to you who you are and how you're doing. So I says, okay, let's meet in the same room a week later. And they say, who do you think you are? I say, I am your CFO, and I have this, the mission to implement project controls.
Okay.
So when I sliced them, they had this almost, like $600,000 losses. Yeah, he had the, but he was doing the out of the scope work for this, client. Of course, they're going to love you. They're going to say, loser, what you needed to do at that time, go and ask for the, change order. But you kept your mouth shut to keep the client happy. And trust me, they don't like people like you. You need to be bold and you have to tell them, you have to be transparent. So when you're transparent, people have a great respect, for you. So, and then, then I made them look presentable. So I told them what to do, how to work with the clients. I told them, use me because my personality, not only accounting, I can go and, convince your clients to give you change orders, and I'm going to give them reasons why. Right. And we did that. And, the company ended up with the big profit. And then finally, that private equity could sell them. So when they sold them, they told me, without you, we wouldn't be able to do that. And those people, they, work on the same building with Warren Buffett. And they couldn't make that company to perform. So they needed me to take a leap and make all those project managers to perform on the project level.
Right. Excellent. Well done, Nadia.
Yeah. And then, of course, I analyze all expenses. I changed the vendors. And we got the, like $500,000 right off the bat, changing vendors. So I'm good at what I'm doing, team. Yes. I go there, roll up my sleeves. I do the discovery stage, and then I tell them what to do.
Excellent. Okay, so as we wrap things up here, I have a reflection question for you. As I like to ask people, what do you wish you knew about building wealth and success earlier in your career?
Yeah, you know what? I wish I would leave the corporate world much earlier and start doing what I'm doing right now at that time.
Okay. Just more rewarding in general?
More rewarding in general, yeah. Meeting, lots of people, not tied up to the chair, because, me being, founder and CEO of the company, not only doing, hands-on CFO job, I'm a, part-time marketer. I go to events, I meet, beautiful people. And that's why I thrive, because I love people, and I know that I believe in the relationships, and, that's really rewarding. That's what I'm regretting. I wish I came to United States earlier, or even was born, here, and start my own business much earlier than I did.
Excellent. Okay, great answer. Thank you. So, Nadia, so if people would like to connect with you or learn more about West to East, what should they do?
Well, we have our website, and they can, directly contact me, so I can provide the phone number if needed. So
okay.
My phone number is 480-229-5735. And I have a LinkedIn profile. We're all over in the social media. So West to East is hard to forget, because we live in the West and we're providing services to the East.
All right. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Nadia Conn, for joining me today. We appreciate you sharing your story, your background, and your insights into fixing companies and getting them profitable.
Yes, and thank you so much, everyone who was listening, and team, thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for that. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Inspired by our guests? Visit PhoenixProsperityPodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.